The biggest pain points for Boston Dynamics as far as actually bringing these products to market?
So first of all, let me set the record straight. We weren't trying to monetize the robots all those years. In fact, we've always been a money-making organization, even in the early years, although we weren't doing it by building robot products.
Okay, so let's get to our next video. It's just something you showed me backstage, which is absolutely amazing. It's a behind-the-scenes look that I've never seen before, and I think most of the folks haven't seen before. So these are the components of Spot Mini that we're seeing being tested in the laboratory.
So obviously we care about making Spot Mini reliable and have long life when it's out there. So we've been doing a variety of testing in our lab where this is the component testing, where those obviously are the legs. We have the arm, which I think you'll see next. We have the shoulder and hip motors and all those actuators. Here's some other internal drives, all being life tested in our place. But we're also testing the whole assembled robots. So we have this thing that sort of looks like a corral, and there's automation software, which is the software it uses to navigate. And it's just on an endless testing run. On the right there's an obstacle, so the robot sees the obstacle and avoids it. Here we have two different floor types, so the robot's dealing with that. I don't know what's happening in this lane, maybe just life testing. And there's a stairway in number 4. And basically we run about 200 kilometers of travel a week. Currently we get bug reports, and the software people and the hardware people are working on resolving those bugs. This is another lane of testing where we have both inclines, and you can see there's a little rocky area there. All these different things require different skills on the part of the robot.
So can you actually talk about some of the applications that the company has been looking at? Again, this is a very different model from the standpoint of Handle being a relatively purpose-built robot, as you said. And this seems to be a case wherein now that you're starting to bring it to market, you're figuring out some of these applications.
We've added a 360-degree set of cameras that also has a very low-light camera, which you'll see. Why don't you go to the next video, and I can.
Yeah, let's actually go to the next video right now, so we can actually see it. There we go. See it in action. So what is it doing? What's the purpose right here?
So this is being tested at the Massachusetts State Police, and this is one of their testing places where they worry about hostage situations or bomb scares. And the idea is to avoid having to have a person go through that door to see what's going on.
So, so there's somebody inside, the door opens up, and boom, there's a robot opening that door.
Right. And the idea is that the robot can open up the door. There is someone teleoperating it from a safe location. We have been experimenting with teleoperating over longer and longer distances, and we've done it from California to Boston. I recently did it from an airplane flying over Chicago to wherever the data first goes, to Boston.
On the Wi-Fi on the plane?
On the Wi-Fi on the plane. You all know how terrible a communication that is. But the key technology is having enough autonomy on the robot so that some simple high-level input from the user can be an effective solution. And that's what we tested there. Why don't you go to the next one?
Yeah, let's play the final video. And I want to ask you real quick again. Last year when we were on stage, you mentioned a time frame, I think of this summer.
We're aiming for July or August. These will start. So we have these things coming off an assembly line now, but they're all betas, and we're using them for testing like you just saw, and we're also doing a lot of redesign, and then the production will really start in July. Here's at a construction site in Tokyo where the robot has previously been taken through the space, and we've mapped it. And here the robot is autonomously going on a route, collecting data. You see it's got that tall thing on its butt. That's a set of 360 cameras that takes very high resolution imagery. We have software that lets you treat the imagery pretty much like Street View, except it's Street View for these cases. And this lets the construction company get an assessment of progress at their site. You might think that that's a low-end task, but these companies have thousands of sites, and they have to patrol them at least a couple of times a week to know where they are in progress, and they're anticipating using Spot for that. So we have over a dozen construction companies lined up to do tests at various stages of testing and proof of concept in their scenarios. This is not a skyscraper. This is more of a hotel where the spaces are tighter, and so the navigation has additional demands on it as compared to the other one.
So we're a couple months out from July at this point. Are you able to talk about pricing yet?
Not quite yet, this summer.
Okay, so we do have a very special guest. Can we actually bring him out on stage?
This is Lily Cohen and Beta, what number is it? 24, I can't quite see. 26?
So if you could actually start by walking through, this is close to production unit. If you can start by walking through what's new about this Spot Mini.
You know, we've redesigned many of the components to make it more reliable, to make the skins work better, and to protect it if it does fall. This robot has, I'm going to go out there and point at a few things. This has cameras. It has 2 sets on the front, and 1 on each side and 1 on the back, so it can see in all directions.
I got to say, too, it looks a little more banged up, I think, than I've seen a lot of your robots. It looks like it's kind of been through the ringer a bit.
I mean, we've been testing these things relentlessly. As I say, they usually go through many hours of testing a week. They do fall still. This is also designed, these are like roof racks, so that when you build your special platform, like maybe the previous speakers will make a deck that you can take a drone off from, and they'll just attach that. There's connections for an Ethernet so that they can communicate, and then we have our API. This also has a special radio on it. It has built-in Wi-Fi, but for an event like this where you all have your phones out and you're texting and stuff, Wi-Fi can be unreliable, so we're using a spread spectrum radio, and of course it's got the arm. Why don't we show off the arm? One of the great things about a mobile robot like this with an arm is that the workspace is essentially infinite, and the motion of the base contributes to the motion of the arm. If you have a fixed arm, they're usually very limited to what they can do. And of course, we've coordinated the arm with the body, so Lily is actually just driving the hand. I know you think it's a head, but it's really a hand. And she can drive it fore and aft and sideways, and now she's put it into a mode where the hand is stabilized in space. I love to call this chicken head mode. And really, people have the capability of stabilizing their manipulators and their heads while the rest of it moves. And it really facilitates the ability to handle objects and work in the world as the robot travels around in the world.
Can you talk a little bit about the control mechanism?
So this has onboard computers that are interpreting the data from the vision. They also interpret data from the load cells in the link, so it can feel the environment. It's balancing itself. I won't kick it. We're not allowed to do that anymore. But I'll show that it's stable. And if I push on it, if I push hard enough, it'll step. And it's pretty robust. If it does fall over, it can get back up. So there's the low-level stabilization of the robot. And then it has vision that it can use to negotiate obstacles, like this block. And here, Lily, I want you to run me down with the robot. It won't do it, huh? I wouldn't promise that it's never going to run into anybody, but it's using its vision to treat me as an obstacle, and then even though Lily's just saying go straight ahead, it goes around. And later on, I think after the show closes, we're going to demo this out front, and you can drive it and see. You can see if you can run one of us down with it if you want. And then on top of that, we have navigation software that can autonomously navigate around space, and eventually, you guys will all be writing apps that run and interact with the controls on the robot.
So what's the purpose then of having it manually controlled? Because it seems like the vast majority of the time it's going to be moving around autonomously.
I don't know. There's many people who have applications. So there's the police application where they really want to drive it, although, again, the autonomy is always running at a low level.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell. See you later.